Hey everyone, it's Anne Manera, and today we are inking a coloring page from a sketch. So, this book is a gnome coloring book, and there's been a lot of conversation in the coloring book community about the curiosity, I guess, about how coloring books are created. So, this is part of a series that I'm going to be creating over the next several weeks on how to actually create a coloring book. So I've got this page and I'm using just a regular number 2 pencil on a regular piece of paper, copy paper from whatever, from my printer. Nothing fancy, nothing expensive. So no expensive tools, nothing fancy. And I've just sketched out these 3 little gnomes with a pencil. So that's the first step. Sketch out what you want to draw with the pencil. And when I sketch everything out with the pencil, doing it this way, I really do not create a precise drawing. So I don't know how else to explain that, but I just sketch it. So sketching it out, this number 2 pencil, it's my favorite. It's a number 2 Dixon Ticonderoga black. And I just kind of get the lines down on the page. What am I going to do? I've got these gnomes. That's my focal feature. So I'm worried about composition of the page, but that's a totally different topic. But just want to get the lines down. And you can see that I'm just kind of drawing these arc type lines. And it's a mess. I mean, I'm not going to lie. At this point, it looks really bad. So what happens next after this? So now I use a program for my coloring books. I scan my pages in and then I import them into Adobe Illustrator and I clean them up in Adobe Illustrator at that point. So I'm not worried about all these pencil lines, all this sketching that's on the page. I'm really just worried about the ink. So now the inking begins. And I'm using a Unipin fine line water and fade proof pigment ink. It's archival ink. There are many, many, many pens out there that are like this. And why is this important to have this this archival ink? Well, you don't want it to bleed. You don't want it to have a fuzzy line. You want to have a very crisp black line. You don't want to have any type of bleed. So think of it this way. When you put you're using a regular marker, maybe a Crayola Super Tip, you put it on the page and it kind of pulls onto the page and the ink kind of like bleeds out. This won't do this. So I'm also holding the pen perpendicular to the page, and what that's doing is allowing for the line weight, the thickness of the line, to be the same, and that's important. Now, I can change that when I put it in Adobe Illustrator, and sometimes I do, because I like my coloring books to be drawn with more of a thicker weight. I like the weight of the line to be completely the same throughout the entire coloring book. I don't like a coloring book that, well, I don't like to draw a coloring book that's going to have a thin line, a thick line, a thin line, a thick line, a black line, a gray line. I don't want to do all that. So I want to make sure that I have this particular pen. Now, I've used other pens in the past. You can use a Faber-Castell Pitt pen. I've also used a Sakura pen, which I really, really like. But for some reason, this pen has become my new fave. So, and they're a little expensive. I would say that a box of 12 was like 20 bucks or something. Keep the cap on. This pen probably lasts me an entire book of 24 pages. Why am I using this paper, right? Like everyone says, oh, wow, you should be using really, really expensive paper. You're an artist. We've got to buy all the cool stuff. We've got to buy all the expensive stuff. We've got to buy all the expensive pens and pencils and paper and everything. Well, I'm going to tell you, that is not the truth. That's just not it. So draw with whatever you feel that you are comfortable drawing with. Use whatever product you feel comfortable using. You do not need to spend a lot of money on paper. You do not need to spend a lot of money on the pens. Now, that being said, it is important that the pen does not drag the ink. So a ballpoint pen would not be that great. Sometimes I do use a Sharpie S gel pen, which for some reason isn't that bad. But as far as the paper is concerned, this paper is just regular 20-pound paper that you would put in your own home inkjet printer. And the reason I like it is because it does not have a rough surface to it. It does not have a thickness to the actual paper. We talk about paper tooth all the time, and that's going to be coming up in a different video when we talk about paper tooth. But the thicker, the smoother the paper, then the less ink is being absorbed into the actual paper. And if I was going to be using a drawing paper like a Strathmore or a Canson mixed media paper or something much more expensive than this, um, it would really, I would really fly through the ink. The other reason is that I draw a lot, and I have just under 300 books published. So every book has about 24 pages in it for coloring pages. So you do the math. There's a lot of drawing that's going on. So when I order paper, I order 3 to 5 reams of paper each time, and each ream has 500 sheets of paper. So I want to make sure that I'm not spending a lot of money either. So I like the cool stuff, but I don't have the 300 pack of Prismacolor pencils. I don't have all of the really expensive stuff. And that's okay, because it's not about all of the fancy tools. It's just about being able to be creative and create something. So what's going to happen after I finish inking this page? So the next step after this is that I'll be scanning it into my computer, and I just use a regular, I have an Epson Workforce 2630, like you really needed to know that information, but that's the scanner I have, and I scan it on 600 DPI. That is the key. That's what works for me anyway. I scan it on 600 DPI, and I make sure it's on black and white, and I scan it, and I import it into my computer, and then I open it up in Adobe Illustrator. Now, you could open it up in programs like PicMonkey, which is an online program, or you could open it up in GIMP. Some artists use Photoshop. Some artists use Adobe InDesign. I use Adobe Illustrator. I've used it for over 20 years now, so I'm pretty well versed in how to use it. I put it into Adobe Illustrator. That'll be another video. So that's the next step. And all of those pencil lines that you see here on the screen right now are actually going to be gone. So with the click of a mouse, click, click, couple of clicks, and they'll be gone. So I hope you can join me in the next video as we clean up this coloring page. Have a great day.